Hi, welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And today we are talking about the new movie, The Menu. I hope you guys have seen it. If you haven't, once again, give this the old pause and go check it out, because we are going to spoil it.
And this is one that we recommend that you go see prior to listening.
Yes. We haven't actually discussed that yet. I'm very grateful that you feel that way and that you weren't excited to talk about it because you were like, here are all the reasons I hated it.
I've tried to keep very tight-lipped about my feelings, but I would like for you guys to go watch it before listening to this, because going into it not knowing very much is the best experience.
Agreed. It's not quite as surprising as Barbarian was.
Oh, yeah.
But it definitely goes in a much different direction than I thought we were going to get from it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, so fun.
It's so super fun. You know what it kind of reminded me of is Parasite.
So I haven't seen Parasite, so don't say anything.
Okay. I won't spoil anything about Parasite, but I do want to talk a little bit about how, well, hold on. Is this a spoiler? I don't think it is. It's definitely nothing about plot. It's about tone. Permission to discuss tone?
Permission granted.
Thank you. It's similar to this movie in that, like,
I loved the tone of this movie.
I loved the tone of this movie. And it isn't, like, it's a horror movie, but it isn't afraid to be silly and, like, over the top at times. Yeah. And I love that. I want more of that. I want more horror movies that aren't afraid to, like, explore other tone. Like, it doesn't need to be, like, tense and scary the whole way through. And even when, like, I don't know, even in The Menu, when some of the, like, quote unquote scary things are happening, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So fun.
That's so good.
And then the, like, class discussion was similar to Parasite as well, but I didn't think about that until just now. Like, it was mostly the tone thing that that made me think of it.
Yeah, but I guess I like the way that horror movies might be going, but this could also be in past years too. But like how Barbarian did have very, like, funny moments. Mm-hmm. Like, Menu was fucking hilarious.
It was
like, I could not
funny.
stop laughing, and then I felt bad because no one in my theater was laughing.
Oh.
And then, like, there were some parts where I was like, am I not supposed to be laughing at this? Because this is hilarious. Like,
my God.
And I would, like, look around being like, am I losing it? Because this is amazing.
Oh, that's such a bummer. My theater was very invested.
Oh,
we were
good.
laughing. We were, like, audibly reacting, even to things that weren't laughter, but, like, audible reactions, and, like, all in a very engaged way. Like, it wasn't people being, like, disruptive and shitty.
That's
it was
good.
like,
yeah, that's the perfect kind of audience.
It was so good. And I think part of that is because I think I accidentally saw this on opening day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to. I, like, had some time to kill and then went to the movies and was like, oh yeah, I want to see this one. And I'm pretty sure it was opening day. So yeah, everybody that I saw it with was, like,
so excited,
ready to see The Menu.
And that's the kind of crowd you want to be in it with, because I had to question whether or not it was as funny as I thought it was, but I just could not. And every joke, and I just keep thinking about over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just such a good movie. And I need it. I don't want to be like, I needed a comedy, but I needed a movie with a good laugh in it, because I feel like I haven't really had that in a while. And this was just, and, like, it is, once again, it is a horror movie, but I feel like I went and saw a comedy with horror elements. And I was like, I like this. It made me feel really light. And I was smiling when I came out of it, and I was just like, yeah.
I'll definitely watch this one again too. This one's so funny. Okay, so for those of you who, like, don't know anything about it, first of all, go watch it. Second of all, I had seen trailers for this, and you know that I don't like doing that, but it played before other movies that I had seen. Like, I'm pretty sure it played before Barbarian. So I saw these trailers, and all I really knew was that Ol Smoothface was in it. Lomas Chess. Lomas Vitch.
Do you want her name?
I was trying to recall it. Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, she's so young. She's so young.
Is she young?
She's like 24.
Oh God, I don't know anything about her age. She did very well in this movie. Everyone did very well in this movie.
Everyone crushed it. Sorry. Yeah. So we see in the trailer, it's her and Nicholas Hoult, who I love, and they are going to like a fancy restaurant that is, it's got Ralph Fiennes as the head chef, and something is afoot. Like we don't really learn a lot. Like you kind of get from the trailer, you kind of get like Most Dangerous Games vibes.
Yeah, very much so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had that movie that came out a couple of years ago, The Hunt. Is that what it was? I didn't watch it, but it felt very similar. And I was like, oh, they're gonna hunt them down. They're probably gonna eat them. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's what I thought going into it. I was like, it's a cannibalism thing. Especially when they first get, so this restaurant is on an island, and like that's huge about it. Like we're eating the whole ecosystem or whatever. And when they first get there, they're one of the people who work in the kitchen is also the like, I guess she doesn't work in the kitchen. She's like the hostess. So she's greeting everybody as they get off the boats, and she takes them by where they like cure their meat. And she was talking about how you cure it for like 153 days and no more or whatever. And when they opened the door, I was like, it's gonna be bodies. And I guess technically it was, but they weren't human. But yeah, going into it, definitely thought that it was going to be cannibalism. And to my knowledge, it wasn't.
No, I don't think so. I did listen to a interview with the writers, and they had talked about how they would go on and they would see people commenting on the trailer, and they would be like, oh, it's cannibalism. And then he's like, it took everything in me not to respond with, no, it's not, guys. He's like, but it was a nice treat for the people that thought it was, and then they came out experiencing something different. He also, I can't remember, so Seth Rice and Will Tracy are the two writers of the film, and one of them got the inspiration because he did out in Norway.
He ate a person?
It is a delicacy, so what are you gonna do, especially in Norway?
Fermented, buried in the sand.
Man, anything fermented. Gotta help
Served with
that
anise.
gut biome.
Is it Norway that likes licorice? Or is that Sweden? That's Sweden. Sorry, go on.
Close enough. I feel like they could do it together. So he ended up going out to an island, and he said he has like claustrophobia and he does not like to be. And then while he was eating this meal prepared by the chef on this island, he had this feeling like, what if?
What if?
And then that's what gave him the idea for the film. And then he went back and he was talking to his friend, and they were like, okay, let's do this. But I want to talk about, so they are both or I don't know if they might still be, but they're writers for The Onion.
Oh,
yeah, and that's how like they know each other, and then they might know each other before work, but they work together. And then he was like, "This is," and the way that they wrote the story was like, one of them would write 15 pages, hand it over to the other one, write 15 pages, and go back and forth. He was like, "It's very much how we would do our articles." It's like it's the same thing. But I was like, "Oh, the more you know."
That explains the like tone and the class commentary.
Yeah.
Like that's very The Onion. Have they done any other movies?
I don't think, I'm not going to say I don't think so. They might have. They talked about what they were going to do next. And it sounded like he was like, I don't know, make more movies. Things he's like, everything goes really smooth in Hollywood. You know, everything's very straightforward and makes a lot of sense. So yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be trying to do that.
Okay. Well, looking forward to more.
It's Onion Sports Dome. No, it might be. Okay. New Yorker, Shorts and Murmurs, Late Night. This is the first movie that looks like.
Wow.
Has been written by them.
Crushed it.
They did. They above and beyond on this one. Oh, okay. So one of them did write for Succession, who the director of the movie has worked on Succession as well.
Okay, we're networking. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that might have been something. But yeah, it's all of it together. Cast, director. I was trying to think after the movie about things that I wanted to criticize, and I found it very difficult.
My only thing is Anya Taylor-Joy. I don't is she good or is she just interesting looking?
Oh, I liked her. I thought she did very well.
I didn't feel that way.
Originally, whenever it had a different director signed up for it, it was going to be Emma Stone. And I don't think she would have pulled off this character as well as Anya Taylor-Joy did.
Interesting. I think that I would have liked her better. I don't believe Anya Taylor-Joy.
No.
But this could be because I experience Uncanny Valley when I look at her.
Yeah.
I don't think she looks like a person. So, like, maybe this is a me problem and not a her problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. There were just parts where, especially toward the end, when she's like, okay, we're about to spoil, so be ready. Yeah, at the end when she's like, she convinces him to make that burger after seeing, pictures of him flipping burgers in his bedroom. I didn't believe that whole scene. Like, it's a whole monologue that's like close up. Like, we're just seeing her for the most part, and it goes on for kind of a long time. And I was like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
You don't believe that she actually wants that burger?
It just felt like I was watching a high schooler.
Oh.
Like you're saying the lines, but are you here with us right now? so
I
don't know.
I thought she did well. I had a different experience. I thought she did.
Yeah, hopefully it's just me.
Very well. Yeah.
I mean, people cast her in a lot of movies, so it's got to be just me. Right?
So there, I don't remember where I saw this or heard this, but I know that she has, when she was younger, she was made fun of a lot for her eyes being too far apart, which makes her have that uncanny valley look.
She just looks like an anime character. She looks like an anime character popped out of the animation. Anime? Yeah. Like big eyes, tiny chin, and then like the shape of her lips too. She's got that like Cupid's bow.
Yeah, she does have a Cupid's bow. But is that because of makeup? More so about makeup and less so about her face?
I feel like she had it in The Witch too.
Oh, and she didn't really, no makeup. Well, she probably wore makeup, but not
like this, where she's
to make it look like that.
Yeah. I did think it was so funny. Okay, so in this movie, when it starts, we learn that her name is Margot. And I was like, fucking of course her name is Margot. Like the manic pixie dream girl. Everybody loves a Margot. And then I was like, she can't pull off Margot. Like, she's just not a Margot. She's not a you know who's a Margot? Helena Bonham Carter. This isn't a Margot. And then like immediately the chef is like, you're not Margot.
You're not Margot.
I know Margot's. You're not a Margot. And I was like, okay, so they made it a plot point. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I thought
she pulls off the name that she pulls off an Aaron. She does look like she could be an Aaron.
Oh yeah, she's an Aaron for sure. Not a Margot. Yeah, that was funny. I liked that. I appreciated that. I did have to look up Nicholas Holt's age because I was like, I feel like he's been famous for so long. Is this like
he has
the Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried casting?
He's
like,
been
is this
famous since he's been a baby.
Since he was a baby.
In About a Boy.
He's early 30s. He's fine. He's our age. He's fine. Like this was not super problematic.
He dated Jennifer Lawrence for a very long time.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's she up to? She like disappeared.
She like had some babies, I think, and now she's coming back into the maybe. Same thing happened, I think, with Emma Stone. I don't know. A lot of actors around this age are stopping for a bit and having babies. So Anya Taylor-Joy is now picking up the roles that they probably would have done.
We need an Emma Stone type. Get Anya Taylor-Joy.
I thought Nicholas Holt's character was so good and so beautifully done, and I loved everything about that. I mean, he's complete and utter garbage, but in the best way. And he plays He's played garbage in he was garbage in Skins.
Yeah.
Kind of. He kind of he had his redeemable moments, but yeah, no, he was just a bag of garbage in this and he played it
He
so
was
well.
so shitty. Oh my God. Yeah. So in this movie, Ray Fiennes, what's his name? Mr. Fiennes.
Ralph Rafe.
Voldemort.
Yeah, Mr. Fiennes.
Tom Riddle is
Chef Fiennes.
Chef Fiennes. Yes, chef, etc. He hates his life. He hates his job. Relatable. Hashtag relatable. And he's like, so he's got this like super fancy, super exclusive restaurant out on an island. What did they say it was? It was like $1,200 a seat or something.
$12.50. Yeah, $12.50.
And there's only 12 seats a night. So he's finally like ready to blow it all up. And oh, that's funny. I didn't mean to spoil it with that. I meant he's ready to
Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically, he's ready to blow it up. But he wants to like punish the people who ruined his life.
Yeah.
Along the way, because he used to be like super passionate about food, and now it's like he's crafting these ludicrous, super fancy dishes, and nobody is like appreciating it, and he's just having to work and work and work and work. And so the people who are on the island in the restaurant that night are like rich assholes. That's all they are. It's just a bunch of rich assholes. And the whole like multi-course meal is him making fun of them and like not serving them food. And
so good.
It's so good. And their like heads are too far up their asses that they don't even realize what's happening. And yeah, Nicholas Hoult is there. He's been like communicating with the chef for months, and he watches all of the cooking shows. He watches all of the cooking shows, and he knows all the words. And I fucking loved when Ralph Fiennes was like, Ralph Fiennes? Sorry, fuck, what is it?
Chef Fiennes. Chef Fiennes. I'm just going to say Chef Fiennes.
Chef Fiennes. When Chef Fiennes is
chef.
like...
We'll just say chef.
Chef. He's like, well, show us what you've got. Show us what you've got. And he's not got much. It's so embarrassing. So funny. Oh my God. And then Chef like whispers in his ear, and like multiple people have died at this point in the movie. He like whispers in his ear, and Nicholas Hoult just looks so sad and then walks away and hangs himself. What the fuck? What do you think he said?
I don't think it necessarily mattered what he said. Maybe go take care of yourself.
Oh, you think it was
probably
that,
something like that, or you're just a complete disappointment to me. I think he said that out loud without saying that in his ear. He said something similar to that. He was like, "This is disgusting."
He did say it was very bad. Yeah. He was not pulling any punches.
This was supposed to be, and hearing the stuff from the writers, they talk about how it is a commentary on consumption and like Tyler, Nicholas Holt's character Tyler is very much like that foodie, that Instagram foodie who loves to post things, but like how food is something to be enjoyed, but it's something that's so quick, and it just like you can consume stuff by watching videos on TikTok, but you can like go back and look at them, but whenever you eat something, it's gone forever. That moment's gone. And just like this caricature of that kind of a person, like I've seen that person you've probably spoken to that is just obsessed with the food and the way the food looks, and they always have to get a picture of the food before ever eating anything at all, and almost the picture of the food's more important than the food that they eat themselves.
Yes, and he also was like clearly not even tasting the food. Like he's basically waxing poetic about the food before he's got it in his mouth. Like he's has already decided that every bite is fantastic. He's not engaging with it at all. He's just like, I paid for this incredible experience and therefore it must be incredible.
And there's an entire part where it's like, you have a lot of dips for your bread, but no bread.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the commentary. And he's just eating it, being like, this is delicious. This is the greatest thing ever. And Margot was like, I'm not stupid. Like,
No.
this is, give me bread or I'm not going to eat it. There's no reason to eat it. This is just oil. You're asking me to eat oil. No, thank you. So at this point, though, whenever Chef does come up to Margot and is like, hey, the fuck aren't you eating? You gotta eat. And she was like, no. I was like, is he going to poison them? Like, I was like, maybe everything was just like little bits of poison and you have to eat all of it in order to die.
Oh, like you're a little chemistry set.
Yeah. And I kept trying to put it together and I was like, why would you force everyone to eat if the poison wasn't in the food? But it wasn't. He just was like, why aren't you eating my food? And he just got increasingly frustrated with her for that. And he does have like a couple personal conversations with her of trying, and you hear it in the trailer of him being like,
you don't
are
belong
you with
here.
us or with them?
Yeah.
And then that was a moment whenever she was like, does she ask if are they gonna die? And he's like, oh, we're all dying. And that was the moment I was like, this movie is different than what I thought it was. Right when he said that, I was like, oh, I have no idea what I've gotten into. I do not know what this is. So then I was like, okay, well, all right, that's okay.
Is that conversation before or after the first death? It must be after the first death.
I think it is after she goes. Yeah, I would assume so, because she wouldn't have asked if they were all dying if somebody hadn't died.
And with that first death, a bunch of them still think that it's theater. So before each course, the chef is coming out and like introducing it very lavishly, very florally, and with a lot of like personal anecdotes from his life. And his like drunk as hell mom is sitting in the corner, like totally out of it. And there's this one sous chef who has a little bit of a conversation with, what was his name? Tyler, thanks. I almost called him Tony, but I knew that was Skins. Has a little bit of a conversation with him at the top of the movie where Tyler's just like, it's just showing off. He's just peacocking. He's like trying to list the names of the devices that the sous chef is using. And that's tiresome for the sous chef. So he's like, how about you go sit back down? And then chef is walking around tasting what the sous chefs are preparing. And he tries what this sous chef is making, thinks very critically for a moment, and then just says, okay, before handing it back. And that's like, it felt like high praise. It felt like very high praise. But yeah, during one of these like anecdotes, this sous chef comes out and chef is like, do you hate your life? Like, do you want my life? 'Cause you know that I hate it. And it's not fundamentally any different from your life. Do you want my life? And the guy's like, no. And he goes on to be so mean. He's fine. He's a fine chef, but he's never going to be good. He's never going to be great.
Yeah.
He's never going to achieve the level of fame that I have. And he's designed our next course or whatever. And
it's called The Mess.
It's called The Mess. And they lay out like a sheet and they dress it. It's got
like rosemary. It's got a bunch of herbs just all around.
It's got garnish. They garnish.
That's it. Yeah.
They lay out a white sheet so it looks like a plate and they garnish it.
And they put like a plastic curtain up as well.
Yeah, like
Gallagher.
Front seat will get wet, but they aren't protecting the rich assholes I almost said audience in the restaurant. They put up the sheet or the tarp to like protect the
food
kitchen to protect the kitchen, and shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then you're like, okay. And then the entire room is trying to explain it. They're like, it's fine. It's
theater. It's theater. This is part of the experience. This is part of the menu.
And there's a couple there that's like, or it's like a girl and her friend, and she's a critic, and they are two of the people with their heads so far up their asses as well, and they're like, this is about us. This is about us. They just did. Everyone here is an actor. They did this all for us.
For us.
And you're like, oh my God, this is insufferable.
Assholes. You know who that guy? When they cast that guy.
Do you think they meant to get Stanley Tucci?
I absolutely think that they meant Stanley Tucci. They were like, we can't swing Stanley Tucci.
Gotcha.
We need a Stanley Tucci type. He is like Meryl Streep's assistant in Devil Wears Prada. Like she was Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada, and he was Stanley Tucci in Devil Wears Prada. Oh my God. They cracked me up. I can't believe we are almost 30 minutes in and we have not yet mentioned
John
Leguizamo.
Yeah. The best of all the best. Our favorite in every movie we've watched.
And he's basically playing John Leguizamo.
So I did read that he tried to play his character as if he was Steven Seagal.
Oh,
so that's what he was trying to be. But he was definitely just John Leguizamo with a scarf.
He was just John Leguizamo with a scarf. Wouldn't he have like karate'd his way out if he was Seagal?
Would Seagal karate his way out?
Isn't he like a black belt?
That's his whole, he was a bounty hunter.
Yeah. Well, first he trained in karate in order to build up his resume to be a bounty hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is a washed-up actor in this. At least Leguizamo's still acting, I guess. And it's cool, like him talking about different parts of it. He was like, oh, he's trying to talk to a handful of the other guys, and he's like, look, I'm still relevant. Yeah. And he is like, well, I'm going into the hosting part of my career. And I was like, oh, okay. That's like stages. And then you're at a point where nobody wants you in movies or TV anymore. So you start hosting movies and TV, hosting TVs.
Yeah.
Television shows. What am I doing?
That's basically what
we're doing.
You
work at a Best Buy and you tell people, here's where the TV is. You buy all the TVs, you bring them to your house, you cook them a nice meal.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You make a whole experience out of it. Okay, one of the things that my audience kept laughing so hard at was before each course, there's like a little title card that comes up on screen, like the placard that you would get when being served a course at a fancy restaurant. And there were hella jokes in those little
funny
title cards. Like they start off normal, right? It's like, I don't know, appetizer, fish. I don't know food. I don't know from food.
Appetizer fish.
Appetizer fish. It was like mussels, right?
Yeah, it made
mussels.
sense. Whatever it was, it made complete sense as to what it.
Yeah.
And it was like it was something like the first catch. Like it's they have labels that make sense to them.
And then before the mess, it comes up the mess, and you don't really know yet what that is, and then it happens and you're like, oh, everything has changed, everything is different now. And then it just gets funnier and funnier.
Like after Tyler walks into the back room, they put his plate and it's called Tyler's bullshit.
Yeah, and it was like raw, like half cooked shallots, raw lamb.
Oh yeah. Great job, Tyler.
Great job, Tyler. Can you hang yourself with a tie? I guess we see that a lot. That's like a trope. Yeah, I guess you can. That's not the way you want to do it, though.
Maybe, well, we don't know if there was a tie.
No, he was like taking his tie off as you went around the corner.
Maybe he just didn't want the tie on when he did it.
It would have been too protective. He wouldn't have been able to hang. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I assume that there was he just had ropes in that room. They have buckets. They have barrels everywhere.
They do.
Yeah, why would they not have ropes? They hang their meat from something.
Yeah, but out in that weird cabin.
Maybe hooks. I don't know.
Ew. Oh, what if he had hooked himself?
He definitely didn't. There would be more blood.
Yeah, no, it was for sure a hanging. Yeah.
How would you do that? Would it be like a jump? I don't want to get into this.
No, but that's what I was thinking about. I'm going to do this clinically and not in like a suicide way, in like I guess a state sanctioned homicide way. I listened to a podcast on what do you call it when the state murders somebody?
Execution?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And what is it? Is Alabama the one doing really bad? There's a state that keeps not executing people right lately.
There's a bunch of states that keep not executing people right, and it's because they're like buying the like off-brand versions of the chemicals for lethal injection.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And then it's not a nurse that does that. It's not a nurse or a doctor that does that.
That's what I heard is the people who work at the...
Yeah, it's just like a
couldn't find the
corrections
vein.
officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
it's
they
just like,
put it in the wrong, just in your skin, in your muscle.
they just put it in the wrong place and they don't know how to mix the chemicals right.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not good.
it's not good. But I was listening to, there was like a whole series of innovations in the death by hanging industry.
Interesting.
Like a lot of math was done because when we were just like freewheeling it was like really gruesome because this was like back in the day when this was like happening in the public square and people were coming to like watch on their afternoons. And so like if the rope was too long and you dropped too far, your head would just pop off. And that was like pretty upsetting. And if it wasn't long enough, then you just like hanged there and like kicked your feet for a long time to the point that the executioner would have to go down below you and like pull on your feet until you died.
Does it like, so you have to get this correct length to break your neck?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what you want, is you want your neck broken. You don't want to just like dangle. And so that's why I was thinking about the tie. I was like, I don't think that's long enough. Like you're just gonna, you're doing the dangle one. You're doing the dangle one.
I think that the expectation is that it is the dangle one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Bummer.
Tyler sucked. I mean, it's still not good. But.
Oh, because. Can I spoil this? Is this too much of a spoiler?
No, that's fine. We're going to spoil everything about this movie. But, like, this is the reason he sucks so bad. Him liking food and taking pictures of food, that's fine. That doesn't bother me that much.
That just makes him, like, irritating.
But he's a terrible fucking person. And Kelly, please spoil it.
Sure. So he had been communicating with Chef for months trying to get reservations to this. And he knew the plan. He knew that everybody was going to die that night. When he hired Margot, who is a sex worker, by the way, when he hired her for this dinner experience, he knew that she was going to die and was like, that's fine. Like, I'm paying for her. I'm paying for an experience. And therefore, it's fine that she dies. Like, I paid her. What the fuck, Tyler?
Yep. And that was also why Chef made Tyler's bullshit. He was like, that was not a planned part of the evening. But he was just so pissed that he had sentenced this girl to death without like her being part of it. He was like, I knew the person you were bringing, and I was fine with that person.
Yeah, she was bad. And now you've got this other woman here. And that's why so early on, he's focusing in on Margot, because like he pulls her into the back office and he has a very frank conversation with her. He's like, I know one service worker when I see one. You know, so he like knew, he clocked her immediately. Like, you're a working girl. You're not one of these rich assholes.
And he kept saying there are takers and there are givers. Which side are you? Are you a taker or a giver? And I was like, oh.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yep.
I was like, I'm a spiral for a little bit. No. And then they said a joke, and then the joke was great. And then I was back but I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, can we talk about that? So in that conversation, I guess we don't know right away that she's a sex worker, that she's an escort.
Yeah.
But that becomes clear like 10 seconds later. And there's another couple at the dinner that night, older couple. And when they're like boarding the yacht to go over to the island, Margot sees the man of this hetero couple and she's like, fuck, oh no. And then he sees her and he's like moving his chair around so as not to look at her. Like, something's going on there. And his wife is like fucked up the whole night. Like, this was pills. This wasn't the wine they were serving. Like, she was on like Quaaludes or something. I don't know what was going on with her, but she was like slurring her words. But she keeps looking over at Margot and being like, doesn't she look like our daughter? She looks like our Claire. And then in this conversation with Chef in the back room, when we find out that she's an escort, he's asking her about her experience with this old man, because that's how they know each other. He hired her. And he like wanted her to make eye contact with him while he masturbated and kept saying how much she looked like his daughter.
Or just calling her dad and saying, you're a great father.
Isn't that gross?
It is so bad.
Oh, no.
So there was an analysis that I had listened to that was like, Oh, and then she had. They said the daughter was deceased of that couple, and I was like, in no point in that movie did I understand that the daughter is deceased.
Yeah. I wondered if dead or estranged. And I think that I landed on estranged rather than dead. Because early on, when the slurry wife was like, doesn't that look like our daughter? I was like, oh my God, is she their daughter? like I was like, is that why she recognized them and is like trying to hide her face? Yeah. Okay. So that's just like hidden subtext.
Yeah, because she kept saying our Claire. But I was just like, I don't know if they said that she was. I could understand estranged, but I was like, I don't know if they said she was deceased. And I was like, I don't know where they got that, or if it was an assumption made, or if it was just something that's in a scene that's been cut. Oh, there is. Oh no, they didn't do any in the interview I listened to.
This was all one take.
Like that episode of The Bear, which you haven't watched yet and you need to watch. Anyway.
No, but I did hear that was like very stressful.
Also, yeah. Yes. Yes. Anyway. But the director, an interview with him, the person interviewing him asked, I watched it at one of the film festivals. Did you make any tweaks in between the theatrical release and the film festivals? And he said, nope. Because if I go back to tweak stuff, then he's like, you always feel like there's something to tweak. It doesn't matter. He was like, there's no need for me. So he was like, the film you saw is the film everybody saw. So I was about to be like, maybe he saw a different film where they had brought this up, but I don't think that that's the case. Maybe it is true. I don't know. But I got held up on that because I was like, I don't know if she's passed. But yeah, very gross.
Very gross.
The guy gets his finger chopped off. When he tries to leave, does he try to leave?
So funny.
He's like, I'm rich. I'm going to leave. I'm going to call a helicopter. Bye, bye, bye.
And then they give him a choice. They're like, left hand or right hand? And he's like, what? And they're like, left hand or right hand? And he's like, no. And the hostess is like, okay, shall I choose for you? Left hand. And then obviously they cut off his ring finger because he's
doesn't
been doing infidelity.
Pretty hard.
And that's the other thing at this dinner is like, as the courses progress, we start learning that Chef knows more about these characters. Like there's a group of rich tech bros. I assume they're tech bros.
I think they're finance bros.
Finance bros. Yeah, I guess finance bros makes more sense because they print on the tortillas. They're like bank accounts. And this was so funny. They like call over the hostess. She was incredible. And she was amazing. Haircut, her little baby bangs.
Oh, yeah.
We love the baby bangs.
Everything she did.
Her outfit?
Oh, just great. Everything. The name of the character is Elsa, and the name of the actress is Hong Chau.
Hong Chau. Yeah. Has she done other stuff? I hope so, because she's great.
Phenomenal.
She was so good.
I want to watch her in everything. She was in The Whale. Which
I don't know The Whale.
That's a new movie with Brendan Fraser.
Oh!
I think it's going to be real sad, so I'm a little worried about watching it.
Yeah. But this scene, let's go back to this.
Yeah,
this funny movie where people are dying left and right.
Yeah, let's do that.
This starts so funny. The tortillas come out and these finance bros are looking at them and they are seeing their like bank accounts that are evidence of like money laundering, I guess.
Yeah.
And so they call over Elsa and they're like, what is this? And she's like, this is a tortilla.
So good.
It's so funny. And then that part where she like, oh my gosh, one of the finance bros was in Broad City.
Oh, I was going to say one of the finance bros I watched was in The President. Which one was in Broad City?
Cheery face. He takes the chair to the window.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the curly broad's roommate who has like an accent.
Is the name of his character. Arturo Castro is the name of his name.
Okay. When she like puts his napkin back on his, she has an incredible line. What does she say? She like leans into his ear and says like, so he's complaining. This is the bread course. So no bread is being served. And he's like, haha, we get it. Can we get bread? And she's like, no. And he's like, no, we want bread. And she's like, we're not serving bread. And so she like puts the napkin back on his lap and leans in and whispers in his ear, like, tonight you will be served less food than you want and more than you deserve.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
It was, I loved every second. And whenever they were asking for the bread, and she was like, nope, no. And they were like, don't you know who our boss is? He is the investor of this restaurant. If you make us upset, you make him upset. And she was like, doesn't matter, you're not getting bread.
Yeah.
And she just says it and smiling the entire time. And I was like, I feel like this is like, I don't know, it's something like a service worker's kind of dream to be able to be like, no.
No.
And
And that's how she says it. Just one word, confidently, casually. No. It's not qualified. It's not like, no, I'm so sorry. Can we like make it up to you? No, it's just like, no. And then they're like, we're going to call our boss and get this place shut down. And she's like, that won't be necessary.
Oh, it's so good.
Love her. Love this.
Yeah, she was perfect. And every scene that she was in, she was perfect. Especially like the bread scene was my favorite scene with her.
Oh God. She was great. But yeah, they cut off the old man's ring finger. And when like at the end of the night, when he's like handing out the like goodie bags to everybody, he's listing the contents of the goodie bags, and he's like, and Mr. So-and-so's finger. Oh
my God.
Oh, we love it. I also really loved the way they dressed up that investor.
Oh yeah,
when Chef is talking about his angel investor.
Yeah. And even the part where they drowned him, I was just like, I started laughing. He was like, do you hear that? Silence. And I was like, no one.
So funny.
I was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, guys.
It was great. That was so funny. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't know who to root for in this because you're not rooting for anyone. And you root for people for like a second and then immediately unroot for them. Yeah. Like, there is a scene with everyone goes outside and you hear about Chef basically admitting to being a fucking terrible person.
Yeah.
And he's talking to one of his sous chefs, and she is just being like, I didn't sleep with you and you treated me horribly. And it's very, it's not sterile, but it's very matter of fact. Like, everything she's saying is very matter of fact about it.
Yeah.
And then she takes tiny little scissors and stabs him in the leg.
Yep. And for a minute, I thought that she stabbed him in the wiener.
Ooh.
Because it
would make sense.
It was like a tight shot. He's going into this willingly. Like, he knows that he's shitty and he's not above the punishment that he's doling out tonight. So yeah, she's presenting this. This is another course. She's presenting it with a story. And he comes over to be a prop, and we just see like their torsos. Like, they hug, and it's like a forgiveness moment. And then, yeah, she like stabs him below camera. And I was like, wiener stab?
Yeah.
No, thigh stab.
Just thigh. And she's got to be careful. There's an artery there, and he still had a couple more courses.
That's true. Yeah. Do you think they practice? Do you think he's got like scars on the other thigh?
Oh, maybe. Maybe not. I mean, because there's a chance of them getting murdered before that night.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, if she practiced on the other leg and then she ended up getting in the artery, and she was like, whoops.
Oh, so maybe there's like a bunch of like pigs in the curing shed with little scissor stabs in their legs.
I feel like that makes sense. And this, after that moment's really great because they give the men a chance to run away. And this scene is really funny too.
This was so funny.
They show part of it in the trailer where one of the guys just runs really early, and they're like, okay, now the time starts. And it's not like, and this is what you think the movie is about. Like, from the trailer, you think that this is the pivotal scene. It is so non-consequential.
No.
Like, the scene that is the most impacting in this is actually the women going back inside and talking about what's going on.
Right. We just had to get the men out because they're dumb and they can't have this emotional conversation that we're about to have. But what is it? It's like if like you have a 45-second head start, if you get off the island, you're free or whatever. Is that what the deal was?
This is your chance to escape.
This is your chance to escape. And then the Stanley Tucci character hides in the chicken coop. And
this is my favorite.
This was so funny. They find him, and the way he knows he's been found is that one of the sous chefs just like through the little window in the chicken coop hands him
gold egg with mousse in it.
Beautiful plate. Yeah, like a beautiful plated egg dish. And it's like, for being the last to be found, here's your.
And then he's like, okay, fine. And then he's like eating it in the chicken coop, and
he still eats it.
It's so good.
Oh my God. But yeah, all the women go back into the restaurant and they have this long conversation with the sous chef who stabbed Chef. And it's
strange, emotional, scary.
It's both of those things. It's all of those things.
But they're like trying to slowly reason with her. They're like, we can do this. So they all kind of like band together to be like, you could have your, like the critic is like, you could have your own restaurant. I can back you in this. We can do this. Yep. And then she was like, we don't all have to die. And then the girl goes, actually, that was my idea.
That was my idea. I was super proud of it.
I was like, oh shit. And then that's when they're like, okay, everyone just want to get really drunk then.
Yeah.
Since this is the end of it. There was a part in this scene, I don't know if it was the scene or right before this, where the critic is smoking a cigarette. And at the beginning of the film, Margot smokes a cigarette, and then Tyler's a little butthead to her.
Okay.
Yeah. And tells her it's going to ruin her palate and it's going to ruin the meal. So it turns out that the food critic also eats, and her
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Great observation. Oh my God.
You think that's my observation? That's a trivia thing from an internet thing. I am not that smart. Thank you, trivia people. But she, like her big sin is that she, based on her reviews, people are made or broken, and restaurants are made or broken.
And she's doing it politically. She's not like, here's what I legitimately thought about the food. She's like, it's very masturbatory the way that she writes reviews, and it's also like,
what can they get me?
Pay for play. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of something bad to say.
Just her smooth face.
So Anya she chooses to go with the restaurant crew. So he says, are you with us or with them? And she's given this choice to go. And then the time is up and she chooses, and she goes with the restaurant crew. And when she goes with the restaurant crew, she also she gets given a task. And then there's like this mysterious door, and she goes through the mysterious door to find out basically Chef's past. And earlier when he talks to her, he does have this conversation about how basically the joy of creating food for people is gone because no one gives a shit anymore. And once you reach a level of where you're supposed to be at, it doesn't matter anymore because they wouldn't even know.
Yeah, there are a couple scenes that like really drive that home. He's telling her that he can't remember the last time that he wanted to cook for somebody.
Yeah.
It's just a job now. And this is fully why I don't want to make my hobbies my career.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to my therapist and I'm like, I hate my job, she's like, well, can you sew for it? And I'm like, no, because then I'll hate that too.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying. Went on a personal tangent. Ruined the train of thought.
No,
Derailed
that's fair.
it. Oh, no. The other thing is Mr. Finger Cut Off.
Yes, Mr. Finger
Chef attacks him. Mr. Finger Cut Off is like, just let us go. We can just let us go. We'll pay you whatever. And Chef is like, name one dish I've made for you in the last year that you've been coming here. You've been here
11 times, 12 times?
11 times. Name one dish. And he can't name anything. And his wife impotently is like, cod. And he's like, cod?
And he's like, no.
Cod? It was halibut.
He's like, that was striped halibut. And he was like, that fish gave its life for you, and you do not care.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
You're just coming here for the status to say that you have. But yeah, go on. She finds his austere sleeping quarters.
And in that's where she sees the news article of him flipping burgers as a youngin'. and like his up and coming article written by the critic who is in the room. But then she kind of understands who he was. But that's where I have this like, I don't know, upsetting part about this character. Because I guess you could go either way, become like a weird cult leader murderer. Or you could, I don't know, use your gifts. I don't want to be like, use your gifts for good. But he could go back, not necessarily like making burgers, but like helping rehab restaurants, helping people get better menus and do better in their own. Like, you don't have to be a fucking, what's the guy? Gordon Ramsay. You don't have to be him. But you can go back and be like, I know these restaurants need help. I don't need money. I can help them become great restaurants.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the next evolution, and he just got really disillusioned. Yeah. And was like, fuck all of this. And I was like, well, I mean, okay, that's valid. I'm not upset because the ending of this movie, I feel like is a perfect ending. So I can't.
I did really love his reason for having John Leguizamo here.
Yeah, that was the best reason. And his assistant.
So, like, everybody who is a guest at this dinner tonight is like an asshole, and they have done something evil. And and then John Leguizamo is like, why am I here? What did I do? I'm just a washed up actor. And Chef is like, he again tells a very moving story about the grueling hours that a chef works. And on his one day off, it was a Sunday, he had one day off, his first in like 6 months, and he goes to see a movie, and it's a horrible movie starring John Leguizamo's character. And he was like, I had one chance to enjoy my afternoon, and instead I saw your stupid Dr. Sunshine movie. And for that, you deserve to die.
I was like, well, I get that. Sometimes like, when you're so stressed out and you don't see a movie, and then you see a movie, you're like, why did I sit through that? Why have I?
Do you remember that movie that made us so mad?
Hunting in Connecticut?
Big? Was it called Large?
Oh, no.
Giant? Was it called
Gigantic?
Gigantic.
Yeah. That was a very upsetting movie.
Like, imagine if we had been working like 80-hour weeks,
and then that was the movie I watched straight on my day off. I would. Yeah,
we'd have to kill Paul Dano.
I get that anger. I was gonna say, I get that anger and frustration when you put it in that context. Holy shit. Oh, that movie. Oh my god.
I don't remember anything about that movie. I just remember
Except
us
Zach
being so mad.
with a bat.
With the bat? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's all I remember. Zach Galifianakis with a bat, Paul Dano, and Zooey Deschanel. I was like,
and
this
Zooey
is going to be a great
and John
movie.
Goodman.
Oh, fuck. And then we were just like,
That's an incredible cast.
What is this movie? Why does it exist? Why is it here?
And then I remember us like Googling it afterward, and the writers were like, yeah, it got away from us.
Like, yeah, it did. Oh, God.
Yeah, we could tell.
We have a menu for you. We have a nice dining experience for you to enjoy.
Yep. Cordially invited.
But the best part also, because at the end of the movie, something's being set up. So our Margot Aaron, she ends up making him she sends back her food. She says, I'm sending back my food. She has a moment where she has this like epiphany, and she's like, I'm sending back my food. And then she asks him to make a burger, just one really good burger. And
she's like, not any of your avant-garde deconstructed shit, like a real
just a burger and fries. And he was like, is the fryer up? Yes. Yeah. Yes, chef. Crinkle cut or spears? I can't remember.
And
French
I wanted to know what she selected.
She got
doesn't
crinkle.
say it. She got crinkle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what I would have chosen personally.
Yeah, same. I would not have chosen crinkle. I've had to go to crinkle every now and then. Shake Shack does an okay crinkle fry. Anyway, yeah, would prefer not crinkle. So if you guys ever buy fries for us, don't go crinkle if you can help it.
No crinkles, please.
Maybe shoestring. Try to go really thin. I like my fries. I don't like thick fries.
Yeah, no, like a steak fry? That's not for me.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to say steak and shake fries. I was like, steak and shake fries are good because they're like very thin.
Steak and shake fries are good. And you know what? I hate to say it, but like when you get a good McDonald's fry, that's the best in the biz.
I mean, I feel like every time I get McDonald's, it's a good fry. and I get a fry every time. I have car fries. You know, when you're driving, man, you guys are just gonna find out I'm obsessed with
car fries. Yeah,
fries and nachos. Those are like my two mains.
Oh, I've never done
fries
car
and
nachos.
Oh, I don't do car nachos. That's too messy. But like, I eat fries a lot. I usually do Greek fries, but fries.
What's a Greek fry? Like feta? Olives?
Oh, it's got feta and it's got like a garlic sauce on it. Sometimes it depends on where you go because you can get a tzatziki sauce on it. But yeah, it'll change.
So yeah, it's basically Greek nachos, but with fries.
Just other. Yeah.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
But yeah, McDonald's is my car fry. That's what I do anytime I road trip, and I'd had road tripped pretty frequently lately.
Oh yeah, no, like I just feel like, here's what I'm saying, is the ratio of good McDonald's fries to average McDonald's fries in my life is like not where I want it to be.
Oh.
You know? Like if it's like, maybe Colorado doesn't, like we're very against fast food in Boulder or whatever. So like maybe we're getting run of the mill up here.
Yeah. Yeah, that
it's
would
just
make
like
sense.
a delight when I get like an actually hot McDonald's fry.
Oh, yeah. Or you get it too hot and you're like, this is going to burn me until I'm dead. So thank you.
Yeah, but I'd rather that than like, this has already been left out for 12 hours.
Yeah,
like these are already bad.
And they're a little soggy, so they're a little sad. Like you pick them up and they don't keep shape.
Exactly.
Yeah, those times.
Yep.
We talked about French fries for a long time.
Well,
what were we talking about?
I could keep going.
Made a burger and French fries. And at the end of it, she just says, this is really good, but my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Can I have
And I was like, yeah, your eyes are bigger than a lot of things.
Yeah. And she was like, can I have a bag to go? And then that was his moment of feeling good about cooking. Mm-hmm. That was his last moment of feeling good about cooking again, that he made someone happy with something he cared about.
And for a moment, I thought we had saved everything. I thought that she had like shown him, you can go back to making cheeseburgers and like.
Yeah. And I had hoped that would be the next, like he'd just open a burger restaurant. No, what happens is better.
It's so much better. It's so much better.
So at this point, Anya Taylor-Joy Erin is leaving and she's walking out. And as she's walking out, she does look back. And this was the most subtle and beautiful moment of the entire film. But the wife of the old guy that is on the Quaaludes, she like looks at her and she just like
gestures,
waves her out. And she's like, it's like, you don't belong here. This place isn't you. And at this point, it seems like everyone's kind of resigned to what's going to happen. They're like, we're all garbage. You're right.
Oh, well, and I think that it like goes back to that conversation where Chef is like, he's like, here's the big difference between like my kind and your kind is that like, if you guys teamed up and worked together, you could overpower us. You could get out of here.
I really liked that they called that out.
I did too. And that's sort of what I felt like was happening here. Like nobody ever teamed up to work together. Mm-hmm. And so in that moment, that woman was not just like, you don't belong here, you should get out. It was like, you have an opportunity to get out. If I were you, I would leave.
Oh, I thought it was her way of just resigning to, we are garbage. You have proven that you're not.
I mean, I think it was both. I think it was both those things. And I also wondered how much of the like daughter thing played into it. Like
where she was like, this is our chance to save you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a beautiful part too where John Leguizamo was like, my assistant's not bad. What'd she have to be here for?
Yes.
And then Chef goes, Did you go to college? She goes, yes. Where'd you go? Brown. Student loans? No. You're dead.
You deserve to be here.
You deserve to die. Okay, done. Let's do it.
She looks so disheartened, but also like fair fine. Enough.
Yeah. And then the last scene, it's just
oh God.
So beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfection. Perfect. This is the perfect menu. I don't know. The final menu is, of course, or the final course is, of course, dessert. Mm-hmm. And it's s'mores. And he talks shit on s'mores. He's like, what? Like artificial chocolate?
Yeah, everything's artificial. Everything's not organic. Everything's disgusting.
Graham.
And he's like, somehow America has adopted it as their favorite food. And I was like, yeah, I fucking love s'mores. I would lie. And
I love
then
a s'more.
they plate the restaurant by putting everyone in like, what is this? Like large marshmallow collars
Yeah.
and like almost like empty Rolo hats, like just chocolate hats. And like, I'm just like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're just sitting there. They're not trying to escape or anything.
And I was
They're
like, you guys could probably leave right now. Like, this is the time. Like, you could go.
Nope, they're just sitting there.
And then they put graham cracker everywhere. And if you guys know graham cracker, can be used as a fire starter if you're doing a campfire. Yeah, it carries fire very well.
Okay.
And then they put like alcohol everywhere, it seems like. But it's like plated so well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They like do like an overhead shot and we see like and the way that they're seated in the restaurant, like it looks like a fancy plate. It's a fancy plate.
Beautiful.
Oh God, it's beautiful.
And
yeah. And then they blow it up.
Yeah. And at the end it is very cult-like where Chef says, "I love you all," and then everyone says, "I love you, Chef." And even some of the guests, I think, say back, "I love you, Chef." They do.
Yeah.
And that's the end of them. And then Margot is on a boat out at sea, and she just is watching it blow up and eating the rest of her cheeseburger.
I have a question.
About cheeseburgers? Did you get one after this? Oh, okay.
I did get one after,
I did too.
Actually. My burger was only fine, but the fries were really good.
My fries were okay. They were a little sad at the place I went. I'm not going to name names because I think that they do a good burger in general, and I don't want to besmirch them.
That's fair.
It was a sad burger in comparison.
Yeah, my burger was fine. My fries were great. So shout out to Murphy's in Boulder. I also had a great Manhattan, and they were serving. There was an item on the menu called like pumpkin spice abides, and I was like, what is this? So I asked the bartender, like, what's this drink on here? And she was like, I do not know. I don't know. And so she's like looking around the bar, and she's like, all I could find was the pumpkin white Russian. And I was like, yeah, that's it. The dude abides. The pumpkin spice abides. Like, that's what it is.
That makes sense.
So you should.
Did you get that?
You should probably know your like featured cocktail. No, I didn't get it because I had a suspicion that it was a pumpkin white Russian.
That's fair.
I didn't want that, so I got a Manhattan.
You had a question about the burger.
Yeah. Was her burger murdered? Was her burger murdered?
Was it murdered?
Was it poisoned? Was she murdered?
No.
Are we sure?
Wait, why would you think that?
Couple reasons. So, she like takes so she only takes one bite of it in the restaurant, and then she takes another bite out on the boat, and the restaurant is exploding, and she like looks woozy for a second, and then like looks back at the restaurant, and then takes another bite in a really determined way. And I was like, oh, did he like convince her to die too? Like, is she like, yes, chefing? I love you too, chefing right now?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just a burger.
Okay.
I don't think he would poison anyone. I think if he would have done it with the no bread thing.
No, that's not enough. That's not theatrical enough. I don't think he would have poisoned in the restaurant.
I think she survived.
Okay.
I'm going with she survived.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not totally convinced. I'm still not convinced.
We'll wait until the sequel.
Because there was also a line earlier in the movie. It must have been when she asked, like, are they going to die? Yeah. We already talked about it. She asks, are they going to die? And he's like, everybody's going to die. And so, yeah, when she looked a little woozy, I was like, fuck, everybody's going to die. I don't know.
No, I thought she just like kind of felt sad. And she'd kind of hoped for a better ending
I didn't
for
get
everyone.
sad. My like alternate theory was that she was legitimately really starving and like really, really enjoying this burger.
That might be true as well, because the food that they had, she was like, I do not want to eat any of this food.
Yeah, no, it was all bullshit. Okay.
The chicken looks really good though. I would have taken the chicken.
Oh, I don't even remember there being chicken. That must have been in the midst of
It was
the
the
murders.
chicken thighs and the tacos. That's for the
Oh,
tacos.
oh, were they on bones?
On the
Ew.
tortilla.
Ah.
Tortilla. I can't
Yeah.
do that.
Tortilla.
Thank you. Yeah, those are on bones.
Because I'm a quarter
You
Mexican.
had to scrape them off to make your taco. Sorry, Kelly.
Do you remember when we went to LA? That's a Letterkenny joke. And we went to some Mexican restaurant.
Got some mole. Yeah, and it was just a whole chicken covered in mole sauce.
Yeah, and it was chicken on bones.
Yeah.
And I like started to cry. I was like, "Oh, I'm vegetarian. Like I give up the ghost. We're not eating meat anymore." Like if you're crying over the chicken you've been served in a restaurant, you gotta quit. You can't do it anymore. Oh God. Yeah, so I guess I was blind. I didn't see the bones in the menu. Fine with the human murder.
But the chicken murder, if you could lay off, that would be preferred. Thank you so much.
Yeah. The chickens didn't do anything to deserve it. The finance bros did.
Yeah. Just such a good movie.
So I think that the reason he didn't go back to like be just a normal chef is because of all of the like family stuff he's got going on. Like he needed to be in therapy 30 years ago, you know?
That's fair. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
I did also in the interview I listened to, they did talk about how the movie was much more violent. And in the rewrites, they started taking out the violence. And they were like, I think we liked where the movie ended up without that amount of violence because it made it, they wanted it to be a more clean and pristine type of a movie because of they wanted that like plating and the food to still come through and still be that way.
I think that was a good call.
Yeah.
Especially because now it's like funny. Yeah. I think that if it had been really gruesome, it would have been
harder to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie though.
Great movie. Loved it. Highly recommend.
So good. And I was trying, when I watched it, I was like, I need to watch it like 2 or 3 more times because I feel like it's going to be on one of my top lists. I don't know what list, but it's definitely going to be, it's definitely going to be one that I come back to because it just had so many good jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's getting rewatches. I'm trying to decide if I would have fallen into this cult. Like, what if I was one of the sous chefs? Would I have been like, yes, chef, love you, chef? Let's murder these folk?
I don't know. I think it depends on where, because it feels like how long he's been working with people that just don't appreciate, because he's an artist.
Yeah.
And he works very hard at creating something. And like, once you create stuff for people that can afford super high, it's supposed to be like the pinnacle of everything. But then you find out it's not.
They don't appreciate it.
Yeah. They're just doing it to do it. And it doesn't matter.
Mm.
But yeah, once again, after I did that, I was just like, man, I would have gone back and like, I don't know, gotten more involved in my community and tried to create like a community restaurant or something. Like he could have, but that's not that might not be his style. It might be a prestige that he always felt like chasing. And now that he reached it, he just doesn't feel like he reached it and it wasn't what he wanted it to be.
And isn't that like we've had like legends about that forever, right? Like Icarus, even. Like that's careful what you wish for. This is a careful what you wish for movie. Boy, howdy. Loved it.
Yeah, so good. 100% recommend on this one. Definitely gonna watch again. Probably gonna quote it pretty often.
Yeah, I can definitely see myself saying that you will eat less than you want and more than you deserve in a lot of situations. And like maybe the verb changes.
Yeah.
Like you will program less than you want and more than you deserve. I don't know. I'm workshopping.
Yeah,
I'm workshopping.
Makes sense.
I think the inspiration will have to strike me in the moment. Would you? I feel like I'm with that writer that I'm not going to go to a restaurant on an island with only like the one ferry.
No, I'm also not a fancy eater. I'm not a foodie. I like food a lot, but I would never consider, I don't eat fancy foods. I like experiencing new foods. Don't get me wrong. And I think
I'm not paying $1,200.
Yeah. I think being part of like a beautiful experience while you're eating and it being like a story and like a whole thing might be really nice, but it's not something that ever, I don't know. I'm having a hard time after the pandemic wanting to eat in restaurants. I'm like, oh, I can just get it to go and go to a park. And I just like eating in parks now. And I'm like, yeah, eating in parks is the best. So I've gotten so used to that thinking about eating in that kind of a setting still stresses me out a little bit.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't do it much either.
Yeah. But I've never done really fancy meals. I don't think I've eaten anywhere. And I'm sure that I've eaten places that they're probably not considered super fancy, but I still wear like sweats to them because I'm not good at being fancy. I don't know how to dress up for stuff. I don't know when I should dress up and when I shouldn't.
I really need people to tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, please give me a dress code before I leave the house.
And not like your bullshit, like vibe style dress code. No, I need like, if you have like a Pinterest board of examples, that would be really helpful to me. Like, don't just say like words that don't mean anything. Like,
yeah, if you tell me casual, like I'm going in
crow on a warm summer day. No, tell me.
Well, that's
is this a jeans situation or
an oversized poncho and brightly colored flats.
Oh, I was just gonna do like a lot of feathers and maybe a beak.
That is also gonna fit the
mood. It did make me think of. So I went to Sonoma on a girls' trip a couple months ago, and we went to a fancy winery for brunch. Not this fancy.
I was like, did you get some emulsion or foam eggs made out of algae?
I don't remember any of that. It was actually a really good paella.
Oh.
But, you know, it's brunch. It's brunch.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody ordered coffee, and our host was like, we don't serve coffee. It ruins the palate for the wine.
But it's early. People need it to function.
We need it.
Yeah. You just made me
I
like,
mean, I was past it. I was already like a couple
capsules
wines in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the gals was like really mad.
I would just be like, could you mix the wine and coffee together?
Yeah, like make something creative back there.
Give me a coffee wine.
That's what this movie reminded me of with the cigarettes.
Yeah.
You're telling me that this chorizo is not messing up my palate? Like, give me a coffee. Yeah.
Coffee's a palate cleanser. I don't know what they're talking about.
It's an aperitif.
Yeah.
Digestif. Yeah, aperitif. It's an aperitif. Digestif. It's a digestif. Right?
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense. That tracks.
I don't know stuff.
That helps
I don't know
stuff
things.
digest. Isn't that what that means? I'll look it up sometime. Maybe I won't.
Well, did we do it?
Yeah, I think we did. I think we done it. I think we menued it. I think the menu is menued.
We menued. And speaking of menus and of brunches, next week is our year anniversary of Never Show the Monster. Are you excited? And that's not the meal breakfast thing. Here's how I should have started. Here's how I should have led into that segue. We're going to do Dead and Breakfast again. We're going to cover Dead and Breakfast again, which is an incredible movie. I don't know the words to describe how good it is. So I'm going to take the week to figure those out. We did cover this before, but it was like in our early days and we weren't very good at this yet. So we're going to take another stab at it, and maybe this will be annual because it's a great movie. Mm-hmm. Here's the bad news. We don't know where you can find it online. It's not on any of the streamers. We checked Just Watch. And we even checked some like questionably legal.
Yeah, we did.
Sources, and we can't find it. So if you can find it, share it with us. Mm-hmm. Tell us where you can discover it, because we'd love to share that with our other listeners. We have copies, fortunately, but yeah, good luck to you. We are trying to figure out a way to do like a watch party with you guys. So if you're interested in that, tell us, let us know.
Yes, please.
And that won't be for next week. We're going to do this episode ahead of that, and we'll figure that out on the back end. And so we're really excited about that. We're looking forward to that. And in the meantime, you can email us, noshowmonster@gmail.com. We're on most of the socials. We started a hive.
Yeah. Oh, we did.
We did. Technically, we did.
Yeah.
And we're over on TikTok, and I'm going down with the ship on Twitter. I'm the guys at the end of the Titanic. Like, I'm just over there playing the fiddle. So if you want to talk to me, that's where I am. And please remember to rate and review the podcast 5 stars, please. And do we have anything else?
I cannot think of anything.
Then we will see you next week to talk about Dead and Breakfast. Allegedly, there's a cult following, and we're trying to join that cult.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy spookies.
Happy spookies.